My name is Robert Hale. I'm 72 years old, and I'm telling you this because most of my life is already behind me, and I don't have much use left for pretending it turned out the way I thought it would. I wake up early now, even when I don't need to. My body does that on its own. There's a quiet in the house that feels heavier than it used to, like it's settled in and decided to stay. I sit at the small kitchen table with a cup of coffee I don't finish and look out the window at a yard I stopped caring for years ago. Nothing is wrong exactly. That's the strange part. I'm healthy enough. The bills are paid. I'm safe. And yet, most mornings, I feel like I've arrived somewhere I never meant to go. When you're young, you think regret will announce itself loudly. You think it comes with sirens or shouting or a single terrible decision you can point to. That's not how it happened for me. It crept in quietly over decades while I was busy being responsible. I grew up in a house where security was treated like a virtue all its own. My father worked at the same factory for 40 years. He didn't like it, but he didn't complain much either. The pay came every Friday. That was what mattered. My mother measured life in groceries and rent and whether the lights stayed on. Dreams were considered indulgent, something you outgrew. I was good at school, not brilliant, but steady. Teachers liked me because I didn't cause trouble. I did what was asked. When college came around, I had ideas, not wild ones, but real ones. I liked writing. I liked history. I wanted to teach, maybe, or work somewhere that felt connected to people instead of numbers. But there was accounting. Accounting was safe. I remember the conversation with my father like it's sitting on the table between us right now. He didn't push. He never had to. He just raised his eyebrows and said, "You want to make a living, don't you?" I did. Of course I did. So I chose the path that promised a steady paycheck. Benefits, predictability. I told myself I could always do the other things later. Write on the side, teach someday. There was time. There always seemed to be time. My 20s passed quickly. I worked long hours and learned how to look busy even when I wasn't. I bought clothes that fit the role. I learned how to talk about quarterly reports with a straight face. I told people I liked what I did, and eventually I half believed it. I met my wife, Susan, at a friend's dinner party. She laughed easily. She asked questions and actually waited for the answers. She worked at the library downtown and smelled faintly of old books when she came home. I liked that about her. We married when I was 29. The early years were full in the way young years usually are. Small apartment, cheap furniture, shared jokes about how little we had. We made plans we assumed we'd get to someday. Travel, a bigger place, time off. I took pride in being reliable. I never missed a day of work. I said yes when others said no. Promotions came. So did responsibility. My desk got bigger. My smile got tighter. Susan was patient. Too patient, probably. She'd ask if I could come home earlier sometimes. I'd say maybe next week, next quarter, after this project. She stopped asking eventually. I didn't notice right away. Life didn't fall apart. That's important to say. Nothing dramatic happened. We paid off the mortgage. We went on vacations that felt more like logistics than rest. We hosted dinners where everyone talked about work. I told myself this was adulthood. The cost didn't show up all at once. It showed up in missed school plays for our daughter because there was a deadline. In phone calls I returned late. In conversations that got postponed until they disappeared altogether. I remember one night Susan was sitting at the kitchen table just like I do now. Papers were spread out in front of me. She asked quietly, "Do you ever think about doing something else?" I didn't look up. I said, "We're doing fine." That wasn't what she asked. Years passed. Our daughter grew up faster than I expected. I knew her schedule better than her thoughts. When she left for college, I felt proud and strangely distant, like I'd been watching someone else's child from across the room. Susan and I drifted into parallel routines. No fights, no betrayals, just a growing silence, the kind that feels polite but hollow. I told myself this was normal. Long marriages settle, passion fades, stability replaces excitement. That's what people say. But sometimes late at night, I'd lie awake and think about the life I kept deferring, the version of me who took risks, the man who came home with stories instead of exhaustion. I'd promised myself I'd make changes once things slowed down. They never really did. The turning point wasn't dramatic, it rarely is. Susan got sick when I was 61. It wasn't sudden, but it was serious. Appointments replaced routines. The future narrowed quietly. She asked me once, during a long afternoon at the hospital, if I was happy. I didn't know how to answer. I said I was grateful. She smiled, but there was something in her eyes that told me she knew the difference. Susan died 2 years later. After the funeral, people told me I was strong, that I'd been a good provider, that she was proud of me. Maybe she was. I hope so. The house felt enormous after that. Too many rooms filled with echoes, too many objects that belonged to a life we never quite lived. I retired at 65. There was a small party, a plaque, speeches about dedication. I thanked everyone and carried my box of belongings to the car. The next morning, I woke up with nowhere to go. That's when the weight of it all finally settled in. Not grief exactly, something quieter, heavier. The realization that the thing I'd been working toward for decades had arrived and it felt empty. I had protected myself from risk so thoroughly that there was nothing left to reach for. The writing I thought I'd return to felt foreign. My hands knew spreadsheets better than sentences. Teaching jobs went to younger people with fresher ideas. Friends were scattered, busy with their own families or already gone. I tried to fill the days, volunteering, hobbies. They helped, a little. But they couldn't give back what I hadn't lived. What can't be fixed is the time. You don't get to trade safety for meaning retroactively. You don't get to ask people to wait while you figure yourself out. I can't go back and tell Susan what she meant to me before it was too late. I can't show my daughter a version of me that was fully present. I can't sit across from my younger self and explain that being secure isn't the same as being alive. All I can do is sit here and tell you the truth. I didn't choose the wrong life because I was foolish. I chose it because it made sense, because it was praised, because it was safe, and because I believed there would always be more time. If you're listening to this and you feel that quiet tug towards something you keep postponing, I understand why you're hesitant. I understand responsibility. I understand fear. I lived on them for decades. Just know that the cost rarely announces itself early. It waits, patiently. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I wouldn't dare. I only know what it feels like to reach the end of a long, careful life and realize you never really stepped into it. There's still time for me to notice small things. The way the light moves across the floor in the afternoon. The sound of birds in the morning. These moments are real, and I'm grateful for them. But they are quieter than the life I once imagined, and they always will be. If this meant something to you, I'm glad. That's enough. I don't have a grand ending, just this. Be careful what you trade your days for. Some exchanges can't be undone.